Now, as far as the covenant and the firstborn, what from a theological standpoint, from looking at Christianity, why is it so important for Jacob to be the firstborn here, and why is it so important for him to get the blessing? Why is he so on fire for this, that he's willing to destroy so many relationships?
You mean beyond all the physical blessings?
The thing, yeah, so he gets a double portion. But when he leaves, what is that? So when Jacob leaves his house because Esau's going to kill him, what does he leave with?
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. So clearly not super successful. If really what he's after is the double portion, then that's been a pretty big blunder.
In the moment, though, he probably thought, well, it completely backfired and I'm getting nothing, or it's only a matter of time I'll get it.
Right. So the question is he so unaware of his brother's his
character,
disposition and character that he thinks that, oh yeah, he'll roll
maybe
over.
He thought Mom was going to take care of it for him while he was about her
he's going to hide behind her skirts.
Yeah.
One of the things that some theologians will speculate about is when he meets Esau with the gifts, that basically what he's doing is he's returning what would have been that he in name he got a double portion, so he's kind of returning a portion back to his brother. That there's an element of trying to right the wrong in that. Now, we don't know. We don't know what his motivations were.
Why would they think that's what he's doing?
Just because of the nature of the blessing having to do with a double portion. So if he gets not the blessing, the birthright. If he's gotten the birthright and he's gotten it by subterfuge, then that would technically be his, and so he's.
It's interesting because in a sense, it would seem that Esau's probably inherited everything at this point. Jacob's gone.
Yeah.
And whatever Isaac had
right.
Has not been passed on to Jacob at the very least at that point. But at the same time, the blessing was no small thing, and Esau was not happy when that blessing was not given to him. And you look at the difference in those two blessings, and you're like, yeah, I'll take Jacob's over Esau's for sure.
Yeah, I think that if he was after just the double portion, then that was a grave miscalculation. One of the things that I think is possible, though, is that because he did seem to have a stronger desire for these things, and we have to try to figure out, well, was the stronger desire all about the fact that he wanted? If all he wanted was the birthright, then he had that already without fooling his brother and incurring more wrath from Esau. So I think that there had to be more to it than that. He got the birthright deceptively. Well, not really deceptively, but in an underhanded, we'll say, manner. But he definitely got the blessing deceptively when he already had the birthright. And I think that what that shows is that he actually had a desire to be in the covenant line. I think that he had a desire to I think it's entirely possible that those things were much more important to him than they were to Esau, but that he didn't fully understand what that meant.
I wonder if his time with his brother and his brother despising his birthright, if that maybe set fire in Jacob that, well, then you can't have it. You shouldn't have it. So I need to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I'll take it away from you, even if maybe he knew the character, that miscalculation. Maybe he was willing to risk that.
Yeah, I think that, how many people, I think about how many times as Christians we, for me, what was I thinking about when I became a Christian?
Yeah.
I was thinking about I wanted to be saved from my sins.
Right.
And I don't know that that's an unusual or a bad place to start.
Right.
But I do know that that's not where it ends. And I think that much like Jacob, you start with a desire to be saved, but that's not where it ends. At least, hopefully, that's not where it ends. I think that what happens is we get swept along on a journey as Christians, much like some of the people in the Old Testament. I mean, Abraham was told, "Go to a land I will show you. I'm going to make you a great nation." But so much along the way, he didn't. There's no way he could have foreseen that. I mean, God could have told him, but he didn't. And so he's on this journey, and he's on this being swept along on this road that really has a lot of twists and turns that he's not aware of, and he doesn't really even know where he's going. Go to a land I will show you. I'm not telling you really that much about it, but I think that's kind of all of our experiences as Christians. Is, we start off our Christian life because there's something we become aware of, an acute need with us, but we don't really understand where that's going to take us. And the question is do we have enough trust in God to go through the journey? Do we have enough trust in God? Because I don't think that Jacob thought to himself, hey, you know what's going to happen is God's going to take me through a whole bunch of experiences, and most of them are going to be pretty unpleasant. Yeah. But in the end, I'm going to come to resemble him and be justified through that. And I don't know that, I don't think that that's where he started this whole thing, like that's what he thought was going to happen. And I think that's most of us, right? Sure. I don't think most of us do that. The question is, do we have enough faith in God through the journey to rather than ask God to justify himself to us through happiness, to realize that we're the ones that need to be justified and to trust God in the process. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Any thoughts? Can you wrap this up? Can you tie this in?
If Jacob isn't looking at it through the lens of his own happiness, then I wonder if that being subtracted from the equation, how that maybe it's more palatable for him. Maybe for us, it's wrong to think, well, I'm doing it because I want happiness. And since he didn't have that mindset, maybe it was, I don't know, easier, something different than we have. I mean, it's wrong for us to think that God has to answer to our every specification. I wonder how much different Jacob was, at least justified from the happiness concept.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's funny. I think we kind of oftentimes find ourselves on one of a couple different ends of the spectrum, and one is where we just expect everything to go well, and we don't have a place for suffering and things of the sort. But I think the other end of the spectrum, we can maybe get so beat down by suffering that we just don't expect anything to go well anymore, and we just expect suffering, and we don't see the goodness of God on the other side. We're demoralized and things of the sort. And I think, having a healthy set of expectations that there's some suffering to be had in this life, but that there is good and that there is God accomplishing his purpose through it, and that he can be trusted.
Yeah, I think that maybe God doesn't lay all this stuff out because we have to get to a certain point before we can really want what's at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a certain maturity. C.S. Lewis talks about mercenary endeavors versus natural endeavors, right? So if you're if you're a young woman and you want to get married so that you can have money, we'd call that mercenary. If you want to get married because of love, we'd call that that's the natural culmination of it. But one of the things that Lewis points out is that we often use mercenary desires to substitute for a natural desire that the person isn't mature enough to have, and they need to get down the road a certain ways before they can have it. Meaning there are certain rewards that you don't realize the goodness of until you've made a certain amount of progress toward them. And one of the things he talks about is like you might reward a school kid for good grades by taking them out for ice cream or something like that. You use a mercenary reward. What's the natural reward for good grades? Well, it's knowledge. But he has to know a certain amount before he realizes the value of knowledge.
Sure.
And so you start off with mercenary rewards, and I think that that's one of the things that God does is that, I think that it's highly likely that whatever it was that Jacob was after here, he didn't understand the full meaning of it. I don't know that he was completely after just money. It's possible. If so, man, he was a lot less discerning than he would end up being. However, I don't think, having said that, it probably was part of it, and I don't think that whatever he thought he was getting in the blessing and the birthright and through the covenant, I don't think he really fully understood what that was. But I think if he had, he probably wouldn't have pursued it. I think that's what happens a lot of times with us. There's a certain amount of maturity you have to have even to recognize the goodness of the goal. And so God doesn't show us the whole journey because we're not ready for it yet. That's my suspicion. But who knows? Do you guys have anything else to say about this?
I'd like to second your who knows. Okay. So who knows?
Who knows? All right. Well, that's a good place for us to end. We'll see you next time.
I thought you were going to end it with, so that's a good place to end because the kids are getting restless.
Yes. There's noise aplenty.